All right, to college football, where Alabama is gearing up for the playoff, but just ran into a surprising distraction, their own offensive coordinator, Lane Kiffin. Kiffin will take over as head coach at Florida Atlantic next season, but had some interesting comments about his current boss, Nick Saban.
I don't recall a happy moment. I just recall the ass chewings.
All right, here on the second row.
I won't take that part of the process with me, though.
Yeah. We don't use that word a lot.
Listen, I hear Kiffin's comments, and I think Nick Saban's head wants to explode right now. I think this is a mistake keeping him around. I think that these comments are inappropriate, and they're an indication to me Kiffin still has no control over his ego or his mouth. He's mad, in my view. This is my theory, speculation. He's mad at Nick Saban that he couldn't get a better job than Florida Atlantic after being with Alabama for 2 or 3 years and helping Nick Saban. I think he probably blames Nick Saban for not helping him to get a better job.
I think winning the national championship is fun. I think winning in general is fun.
Should be
fun. So it should be fun? No, it is fun.
Lane Kiffin said
it
it's
is
boring.
fun.
He said it's boring.
Look, you could have a great time and lose, and that's miserable. So if you want to do something great and you want to be something special or do something special, it's hard. It's hard to do it, and if it wasn't, everybody would do it. Okay, so they're doing something special down in Alabama. Is it fun? No. But winning, the end result, that's fun.
I'm a little surprised that they don't have something in place where assistant coaches aren't allowed to speak to the media.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on teams before where assistant coaches wasn't allowed for this reason right here. Because Lane Kiffin obviously is basically promoting himself for his next job. He's obviously being a distraction right now going into a big game. And this needs to stop. And I'm surprised at Alabama with Nick Saban running the show and running everything that goes on down there. This not in place already.
It feels like the old Lane Kiffin is back, the internet dream. Everybody loved him in Oakland. They loved him at Tennessee. He would never, you could never control him. But Nick Saban had him muzzled the last 3 years. He actually said to Sports Illustrated, it's like dog years, the last 3 years I spent in Alabama. That's a major shot. How do you go and coach your quarterback, your freshman quarterback, leading into the playoff?
No. I want to know how you deal with Nick Saban in the coaches' meetings after making these type of statements.
How do you face anybody there when you
it has to be uncomfortable.
Took a dunk on the whole program?
Yeah, it just feels like they got a divorce, but they're staying together in the house for a little while for the kids. They just got to get through this next sort of phase. But look, to emulate Nick, to be able to emulate that program, I think that would be an amazing thing for Lane. And to take shots at him now at this point or take shots at the program, I don't think that's fair to Nick.
Again, this to me is why I don't trust Lane Kiffin. If Lane Kiffin's wondering why the best job he could get is Florida Atlantic, maybe it's this right here. They got a national championship they're about to play for, and he's making comments that have nothing to do with Washington. So if I'm an athletic director, or I'm some school president, or I'm some other coach somewhere, I'm seeing the signs that have always undermined a very talented coach. He doesn't have the discipline.
Here's where I trust Lane Kiffin, guys. He's going to Boca Raton, right? He's going to be having those boat drinks, hanging out with the Cougars on his jet ski. He is going to be having more fun than anyone after 3 years he just spent in Tuscaloosa.
Do you think he'll be successful? Do you think Lane Kiffin will be successful?
Well, he's going to get all those players who could get into the SEC. He's going to get those guys who want to go play for a fun program, right, Shawne? Did you want to go to Maryland to have fun, or did you want to go into a rigid system?
Well, I'm from Maryland, so I was already having fun in my backyard.
You want to go someplace, again, where the coach is going to help you get to the NFL, or the program's going to help you get to the NFL.
How about championship?
See, that's the truth, and that's what happens when you play for Lane Kiffin. He's been around for a long time. Obviously, he has a lot of ties to the NFL, and no question about it. A 17 or 18-year-old kid that's going to college, they want to go to the league. And so you want to go play for a coach like that. But the only problem you have when you look at it from the outside looking in, if I was Lane Kiffin, I would have just held back my comments until everything was over, because you don't want – look, you're jeopardizing a distraction going into a big game like this, and it could be your fault.
Let me ask you something, Eric. Honestly, do you think – is this the behavior – am I right or wrong? This is the behavior that has prevented Lane Kiffin from being a successful head coach. Again, to me, a coach has to walk a very narrow line and he can't do it. He wants to be a bit of a personality more than he wants to be a head coach.
Well, the thing I don't know about this is this is a huge stage for Lane. So for him making those comments, it is a little bit of a recruiting tool. What's my program going to be like? Yep. My program's going to be fun. It's going to have all the elements of Alabama, but we're still going to have fun. I think if you
all the elements of Alabama would include.
But here's what I'm saying though is this could just be an opportunity to sell to kids because he's got the biggest stage going right now in college football.
Question.
So I'm just going to give him that benefit of the doubt.
Let me ask you a different question. Nick Saban, does he like this behavior?
No, nobody likes that behavior. Who wants to be criticized on how you're running your program on the verge of going to the playoff? No, I can't imagine.
It makes no sense.
You want any sort of distraction going into the situation they're going into, but these two are no longer together. They're together for a very short amount of time, and then they're going their separate ways, and they become competitors. And Lane, to me, is using this opportunity to say, here's my program.
Is Lane going to be the fall guy if Washington pulls the upset?
Absolutely. And that's the problem. And that's exactly what I was saying. If I was Lane Kiffin, I would have held back what I felt about Nick Saban and how he runs his program until we were done. Because if something happens and they don't win this game, all fingers will be pointed at Lane Kiffin.
Take the
Guaranteed.
points. Take the points.
Nothing worse than a short-time employee